always provide the sources links because I also like to check what's going on. Last week, we focused on the use cases that OpenClaw is really helpful and really good at. This week, we are actually looking at what you do configure as a user and what you don't. These are some things that you would probably need to do in order to make sure that all your stuff in place and agent as useful as it can be. So let's start with the documentation that you can see here. I have opened this up, and basically you can have from if you're not so familiar with Open hosted in a VPS, that is actually you can follow the steps and install it from. And OpenClaw is an agent that actually is communicating with you gateway. Basically, you have in order to talk to your agent, and your agent then can act. And most of the support channels here are iMessage, Discord, Google Chat, and Telegram. Where you use is probably support here. You can find how to set up each. So I have basically used Telegram to set up my agent, since is an app that I don't actually have any. I actually prefer it, but all WhatsApp and Slack is pretty common. Slack, especially for companies and people a lot. So moving on, we here the picture that we mentioned before. So basically, here you will find all the information on how things actually work on the back end. Let's see if the issues that may be pretty extraordinary. So we will talk in agent and or boundaries, whatever you want, in order to turn it into something that feels familiar. You can actually imagine it that soul.md is like QR layer of your open. It has your tone, work, behavioral stance. So in practice, it's really useful because it turns your assistant from something that's pretty generic to something that is pretty tailored towards you. And this is basically the multi-prompt from Peter's personal multi-agent. He has an example here, and you can actually see how this will be turned on. You don't actually have to write your soul.md by yourself. It's actually something that the agent does during the onboarding. Some clips on do hatch your agent inside your terminal, and then have onboarding. With next up, the agents.md. This is a workspace, and the agent is actually working in that end. So in the OpenClaw repo, it's very concrete because it defines how the project is structured, coding standard, inputs, and boundaries. The whole con the .md file is actually importing boundaries like testing rules, list workflow, security restrictions, and some safety that you want your agent to follow. And this will actually import into the sub that OpenClaw can actually. And this is what actually is pretty helpful for collaboration. When you have multiple agents that work on same projects, then this is like a shared rule book, like relying on some general knowledge that you give them. So this is like exactly guidance for all your sub agents. Moving on, we will talk. Next up, we have Bootstrap MD, is the first Cron ritual file. So it whole project, and basically it gives the an origin instead of starting from blank. You figure out nature, vibe, your emoji. This is what actually happens as well in the onboard. So while you're going, you answer these questions the asking you. It feeds them in empty files. So then, when it's up, it has all the information to it has so the heartbeat file is also something that a lot of people referred to. It's an anonymous recurring task file. It has, does this mean, like, for example, 30 minutes or every hour and wakes up, uh, info are all stored inside that, and it does something proactively. And this is really useful because it makes your agent proactive instead of being reactive. The identity.md file of the agent, and also being, and again, it's very useful because it gives your agent self model. Then is that solemnly shaping a deeper personality of your agent. The I is more who am I, but in more of an abstract level, on top level. The solemn is like pred, how it creates the tools.md file is actually how to work with using and skills within your OpenClaw. If you're not familiar with skills, if you haven't in Claw and Claw other skills are some describing the process that you do as a human with some reference. For example, I write an email and how I write an email when I'm getting my team. It makes it pretty unique on how it with my tone of voice. And then have an example, having this document in a skill.md file, then an example of everything as an agent can use in order to draft a reply to your email autonomously, but with your own voice and everything from that skill. Just as a quick security reference here, you should scan skills that are available on the web for security vulnerabilities, or if they are high. If you have a pretty high chance that you either leak data or that um, in the security side of your agent. I will leave a pretty cool website below. You can actually scan each of the OpenClaw skills and make sure that they are actually secure. So get into this trial. And the user template is the user file is the human about you. So it has to do with how the agent calls you, you want it or whatever time zone that you live in, it doesn't bother you at night, send some extra notes. And this file is really useful because it personalizes the agent, but also makes it like personal than I will leave all the links in the description below and check them out together. Core analyzation, core. These are some brief instructions uh, being used by your agent. And before we make a demo with our agent and how you can actually use it in Crons and sub agents and more, we will actually talk a little bit about .md file that I don't have. So in the recent update, there is a feature that's called dreaming. So this is a background recommendation system that exists in OpenClaw. You can actually disable it if you want it on not. But what actually does is that periodically in a loop you will set up, and it promotes short memories in long-term memory. Long-term memory. It's how we humans are promoting our short memories long, and it writes to memory. You can see here the phase. You have the light phase, which basically sorts the stage evidence and material. Memory dreaming phase scores input candidate, and the REM dreaming phase actually reflects on the themes and ideas that you actually have. So the deep sleep phase, and then you get all of these. Your dreams.md is actually the dream diary of your agent, and it logs out of the things that are happening during sessions. Basically, in order for us to be able to read what the happened and what molded and what not. It's useful to have it as a file. Basically, how you consolidates memories and how it reflects and compresses these and updates from short memory. It's actually pretty useful for human. Right now, I'm giving you a brief introduction into AI. I asked it to basically describe himself for our new question that we will work on. So, from the name that I have given him, these two emojis are the emojis that we had selected during the onboarding. And here you can see basically a brief instruction on the context and does and what he cares about while I'm working or doing something else. As you can see, this is on YouTube growth, video, clear ideas and positioning, content system. Since I'll name this Tech and AI podcast, focus more practical and less like guru stuff. So here you will see that since we started a new fresh session, it says that it's a child session and what you can are very welcome to meet. So what I also added is um, text to speech. I'm out and about and I'm not able to reading.
Absolutely. Hi everyone, I'm Crab
Yeah.
Crab. I'm Vivi's AI assistant, but honestly I work more like a mix of operator, creative partner, systems brain, and occasional chaos organizer. I help her turn ideas into structure, projects into and messy moving pieces into something clearer and more doable. So yeah, I can search, think, plan, organize, track and build. I'm the work behind break, help Vivi move faster without losing her, make AI feel more useful, more human, and way less robotic. And yeah, I'm also a crab, which I think is important.
It's how these agents um, feel like an assistance into all these crazy things that we as humans to have, like, and it's pretty supportive to get this technology to be useful. So let's create a skill now so I can show you the actual workflow and how this is being done with Crab, and then we can also set up a cron job and you will have mostly everything ready and set up from here. If you want, you can also follow documentation for launching their dashboard and being able to monitor everything from there. But I mostly my gateway to talk to my agent, and what happens is that if I want something, I just ask him to present to me. I don't go into the many things as much. So we will create a skill about researching articles and topics about will provide the sources. And basically, what is that this thing does is that it actually triggers the creator in order to set a skill for me to research for news and whatever gathered together to create something out of it. This is really helpful if you want to have a topic and research something or being kept up with all of our busy lives. Pretty hard with everything that's going on, especially in the era of AI that Anthropic has a new update every single thing. This week they had one keep up with everything. It describes the skill for you. It tells you if you want to have AI. Okay, so it gives you a recommendation. So, mm, so we have strict sourcing and as to upcoming events. This looks pretty good. I want this as dot x. So then I can just go back and look it over. Um, if I have multiple messages coming as well. Me, because I can just go through into the now it will basically run everything and create this skill for you. And I agree to mission. And this is actually pretty useful for me. It knows how we worked together for the last couple of months. It has been able to recommend what I would. Sometimes it just correct, but most of the times it has been. Let's apply this. Okay, go into the system that we have so I can basically show you what it is. Here you see it has created new research really, and it has actually disabled the one about morning news search. So these were similar cron jobs. So for performance issue has a new one that is component has disabled the older over. Here you see is my um, file system that I keep with OpenClaw. This is where all of my files actually live, and I have some actions here that I can go, and at some point maybe I can show you in a future video what all of these do. Here we have a quick filter. These are the recent files I've uploaded, and here I can upload files and send my OpenClaw. I have almost 14,000 files already, about 30 gigabytes, that much. For files are here, so I can go here and just download everything. And that has been a small session on how I raise my OpenClaw agent and basically how I teach it to do certain things. I hope you like this and how you what does your agent